On today's show, Devin Booker showcasing his adaptability throughout Team USA's gold medal Olympic run. Can he bring that same defensive edge back to the Phoenix Suns this upcoming season? Plus, Kevin Durant becomes the winningest Olympic basketball player of all time, but he wasn't just busy on the court as he took some time to sound off against the fans off the court as well. We're going to unpack it all on today's Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up and welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA, the biggest stories with the local experts. I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, also host of Locked On Rockets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything that you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Joining us now is the host of Locked On Suns, Brendan Clean. You can track down wherever you listen to your podcast or on YouTube. Just search Locked On Suns. Here to talk about the pair of Suns who had a really fantastic showing throughout this Olympics run for Team USA, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. And we're going to start with Booker here first, Brendan, because we're going to have to rewind the clock here and go all the way back to September of last year, September 2023, when Kyle Kuzma put out a tweet that read as follows: USA basketball better get some NBA stars that know how to play a role. Anybody can be nice with the ball in their hands, but can you be cool with defending and going to the corner for a few possessions? And then Devin Booker comes along, quote tweets it, and says, "I'll do it." And then he followed through on that promise with this Olympics run. Steve Kerr, unprompted at the end of his gold medal press conference, went out of the way to say Devin Booker is an incredible basketball player. Nobody asked about him. He was our unsung MVP. I just wanted to say that. Honestly, you look at what Booker did throughout the entire Olympics run. He posted 15 points, 6 boards, 3 assists in the gold medal game. You know, incredibly impressive defensive presence, kind of picking up full court, sticking to his role alongside future first ballot Hall of Famers and guys like LeBron and Steph and KD, and looked like he fit right in perfectly alongside those guys. It feels like we saw kind of a different side of Booker during this Olympics run, one that kind of earned him some newfound, respect and fans kind of globally.
Different than what he does in the NBA for sure. Different than what he had to do this past season, where he was kind of handed the keys to the offense as basically a point guard for the Suns with this big three. But not surprising to, I think, Suns fans and people who watched the last Olympics. Like, I would actually take it there even earlier than Kuzma's tweet, because Suns fans have had a nickname for Booker for a while when he dips into this bag, which is Olympic Book. And we call him that because he did it in Tokyo in 2021. He was not as much at a disadvantage legacy-wise or, pecking order-wise as he was this year with LeBron and Steph around. But, that team had Damian Lillard, a scorer. Kevin Durant was still there. Zach LaVine, obviously you want him to be, focused on scoring the ball. And Book pretty much did a version of this, chipping in where he was needed and gaining the trust of the coaching staff, proving that he could and was up to that task. And I think that bled into this year, where I'm sure the coaches remembered that, the players remembered that, and he quickly became that glue guy, that fifth kind of closer, fifth option, where we knew the legends, the three legends, were going to be on the court a lot. We knew they had to have a big man of some kind, Embiid or Davis or whoever. Who was that fifth guy going to be? A lot of the time starting, it might have been Drew Holiday or whatever. In this case, it was Booker more often than not to close games, and I think that's why Kerr appreciated it so much. Yeah, just doing everything, hustle, dirty work, crashing the offensive glass, shot better than 50% from three, making, giving back to his teammates whenever they got him open looks. Just, perfect role player stuff for a guy who, come October, he's going to be back to, 30% usage and everything. So definitely the most malleable guy I think we saw at this Olympics, having to change what he is.
I think it also lends some credence to the argument, right? When you are an offensive player in today's NBA, when you're a star and you have to carry such a huge offensive burden, it is really taxing. And it does take away. Sometimes you look at a player like a Devin Booker and you're like, oh, well, maybe he's not, not a great defender or that kind of thing. But you realize, no, these guys, when they are given like the runway to actually expand upon their game, and maybe they are able to take a smaller role offensively, you can refocus that energy elsewhere on the court, which is exactly what we saw out of him during this Olympic run.
Yeah, it's something I think Suns fans hope we can see roll over into the fall. We talked last time I was on here, they have a point guard now. He won't have to have the ball every single second of every single game. Ideally, you do see him lean into some of more of that. I don't want to say off ball. Exactly. Let's see Olympic book in Phoenix. It doesn't have to only exist in Tokyo and Paris.
That would be a welcome occurrence for Suns fans this upcoming season. Now we got to talk about the other star in the house here, Kevin Durant, who now becomes the winningest male Olympic basketball player ever. 4 straight gold medals, and now the leader in total points scored across both men and women's basketball, surpassing the great Lisa Leslie, of course. Kind of an insane run for KD, right? Comes back, does it again year after year after year, passes up Carmelo Anthony for, total gold medals. Or total medals, I should say. Carmelo had the 4. He had the 1 bronze medal. Now LeBron kind of ties Carmelo with that other bronze medal in that the pecking order, I guess, as far as winning awards goes. But KD just doing what he does, and also had one of the coldest moments of the Olympics right there at the end of the game against Serbia, just waving off the screen, going one-on-one, icing the jumper to cap off that insane run that was started, kind of spearheaded by LeBron and Steph in that comeback game. Just an impressive all-around display from KD as well.
Yeah, just doing none of it should and none of it did surprise any of us watching, right? I mean, I think that's kind of like the biggest testament that you can say to Durant's greatness and the ability to just turn it on, right? Like, I think what jumped out to me the most about that shot against Serbia, it's like, the bravado or whatever of like waving off the screen. And then of course, even just like, it's the real life embodiment of that kind of pickup playground question of like, what if KD and LeBron and Steph were ever on the same team? Who would take the last shot? And it's like, obviously there's a lot of context, but I guess the answer was Durant, and that's just all very cool. But the basketball side of what impressed me, the athletic side of what impressed me, is that he did it not cold, but he only had 9 points in that game, And so it's not as if he was on a heater the way Steph was to close things out and then just kept going. It was like Durant comes off the bench in that first knockout game, first medal game, and then is on the court to close the game. And it's like, I'll just make this shot. No big deal. I'm not in great rhythm, but no problem at all. That's kind of what he has been doing this whole Olympic tournament, because he missed all the exhibition games. So he's basically just been riding kind of sheer talent and like willpower this entire time. And that's obviously very cool. My only knock, or not even a knock, but a regret about Kevin Durant this Olympics is that the powers that be left him off that 08 team, because he could be going for 6 in LA in 4 years. But unfortunately, he'll have to settle for 5, I think, unless he's going to defy father time and do it again. And what is it, Brisbane in 2032? I don't know if he'll get that far. They should have let him have it when he was a rookie in the NBA, but they did not.
That would have been really cool to see. And credit to KD as well, right? The willingness, obviously he comes back from the injury, but the willingness to come off the bench, right? To accept that role all the way up until the gold medal game, really big for kind of the I guess the chemistry of Team USA, and just, not wanting to muck things up and just embracing that role. Again, plug and play, easy money sniper, right? There you go. Nickname's right there for you. Yep. Now, he also wasn't just busy on the court. He was also really busy off the court. Shout out to our good friend over at Locked On Nuggets, Swiper Cam, who, man, Cam got into it a little bit with KD on social media. Cam was kind of providing some praise to the Serbian team for how they played against Team USA in that game. Obviously, they were dominating throughout a portion of that game, and then, it took an insane comeback from Team USA to win and to advance to the gold medal game. So Cam decided to, give some praise, saying Serbia just took the most talented team in the history of the planet to the wire with a medal on the line. Team USA was a 16-point favorite. The whole country should be proud. And this prompted a reply from KD, who decided to say, "Where are you from?" And then this went into a chain of replies on Twitter, and it culminated in KD spinning off a series of tweets. And we're going to discuss those really quickly. The first of which said, "To all you Nuggets fans, nobody gives an F who y'all lames believe is the best player in the league. Players got major respect for Jokic. We don't worship him like y'all do, but most are in awe of his brilliance. Trolling you cornballs for rooting against us is a part of the game. Deal with it." He also then goes on to talk about the fan culture that's been created recently. He goes, "A lot of huge egos who believe they are the reason for the advancement of the sport, a lot of idol worship, a lot of hate and division based off wins and losses, a lot of disrespect of the work being put in by these incredible athletes, mostly by people who don't know what it takes to be good at anything besides talking. Go do something and get out of the way." And then finally, the final, the exclamation point on all of it, he goes, "That's what y'all do. Y'all are clowns. You use players to push these corny agendas y'all got. This is a brotherhood. You're not a part of it. It's a problem now because social media got you clowns walking around with your chest out like you mean something. You don't. Your takes don't matter." All caps with exclamation points in abundance. How are we feeling about this, Brendan? It's a lot.
Are we doing the whole Are we doing the whole week of shows on Locked On NBA? Because we could just bust out like at 3 hours right now, I think, and just schedule them out Monday through Friday this week on the feed. But look, okay. So I think we all know at this point that, and Katie actually said this in an interview during the exhibition camp that he did with Yahoo Sports. It's basically a lose-lose if these guys try to do the whack-a-mole of every time something gets thrown their way, they try to answer to it or have something to say or have some retort, right? They're famous. There's a million things being said about them at all times. It's impossible to satiate fans with this. Now, in this case, it wasn't really about him, but obviously it was kind of in his replies and everything else. And so, it happens. But Katie has basically looked at that lose-lose and said, most people say, if it's lose-lose, I might as well just ignore it. He's saying, I'll do the other lose, and I'll just say something about all the stuff I want to because I'm going to lose anyway, so why not have an opinion? And I can respect that. I think it's totally valid. I don't have a problem with it. But within that, it's a little bit ironic to hear him in particular when he comes out against the kind of idol worship stuff, because he might be, outside of Kobe Bryant, the player on earth in the modern era of the NBA, this social media digital era, that has the most stands and fans of him individually as an athlete of anybody. Not that he asked for it, he didn't, but it is true. So it's a little, I sometimes lose track of exactly where his point starts and ends, but I guess that's kind of what it is with KD. He just responding in that moment. It's just what he feels right then and there. In that moment, he had a problem with the fact that Team USA beat this team, and he had an amazing memory of an emotional association to winning. And then he goes on, and there's all these American fans not even being appreciative of it, and he had an issue with that. So it doesn't have to add up. That's fine. But yeah, look, I don't love the idea. Last thought on it is, I don't always love the idea when athletes, coaches, anybody gets so specific about what fans can and can't do or say or think, because it does sort of infringe on this idea of like, okay, you're standing up for your ability to kind of compete and do it your way and everything else. The other side of that equation is all of us watching from the outside. That's the input and the impact that we all get to have. We can say and do and think whatever we want, and you can think it's wrong, and we can have that debate, but I guess I get it gets a little touchy to me when it's like, while standing up for kind of your perspective, you're also telling everybody else to kind of shut up.
Yeah, I first of all, I think I gained a lot of respect for KD out of this, honestly, because I do think that there has been a massive shift in fan culture as of late, right? With the standum reaching an all-time high. There's more individuals who are fans of players themselves than of the actual teams that the players are on. You see that kind of sowing discord among different fan bases, over the course of an NBA season. Over the past few years, it feels like it's really kind of mounted and gotten way worse. I remember, it was always team first. Right? You were a fan of X team, and that was it. You rode with that team, win or lose, rain or shine. And nowadays you see fans hopping from team to team. They follow a player, they collect all his jerseys. And, it was one thing to follow a star player like LeBron and be a fan of him. But now you see guys, standing all these different players and stuff. And I do agree with your sentiment about kind of the gatekeeping element of where he went. It was almost like he was just having this stream of consciousness, just tweeting in the moment.
And I think that's how we should receive it. It's just his thoughts. We don't have, there isn't some big thesis statement, and that's fine.
And that's perfectly okay. I think that I have learned to really appreciate KD, both the basketball player on the court, but then also just who he is as a person, because I think he's just kind of embraced this identity, kind of going from the whole cupcake KD situation, leaving OKC, all the vitriol that he got for joining the Warriors, and then he kind of just leaned into it. He's like, you know what? All right, I'm just going to be who I am. I'm just going to talk about what I want to talk about. I'll clap back at guys when I feel like I need to, and it's kind of it's entertaining in its own right. Aside from just the impressive basketball play that he has, to just kind of keep up with what he does occasionally off the court as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fun. It makes it more interesting to watch all this when you have a little bit of insight into what the dude's thinking that's doing it.
Absolutely. And for more insight on what's going on with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and anything else to do with the Phoenix Suns, you're going to have us covered over at Locked On Suns. Brendan, thanks for stopping by Locked On NBA with me.
Thank you.